My parents called a family meeting. You owe us for raising you, Dad said, handing me a bill. I thought it was a joke. Then Mom added, be grateful we're only charging you this much. So I pulled out my own invoice, and when they saw the total, their faces went pale. Growing up, nothing in my family came free. Everything had a price. I had to earn what my younger brother George got handed to him without question. When I wanted new shoes at 14, I saved birthday money. When George wanted shoes, Mom bought them. He needs them for soccer, she'd say. At 16, I worked part-time for a year saving for a car. A week before my birthday, George turned 14 and got a brand new gaming console. Dad said, we'll see about getting you a car once you've proven responsibility. When George got caught drinking at 17, Dad laughed. Boys will be boys. When I came home just 5 minutes past curfew, I got grounded for 2 weeks. That's when I knew they were never gonna help. I bought my own car at 17, put myself through college, moved out as soon as I could. Meanwhile, George dropped out twice, quit jobs after months, and Mom and Dad always swooped in with money and excuses. Then last week, Dad texted, family meeting, Sunday 3 p.m., don't be late. When I arrived, Mom slid a paper across the table, an itemized invoice, room and board, groceries, medical expenses, even gas money for rides as a teenager. Total, $79,800. I laughed. You're kidding. We're not, Dad said firmly. Raising a kid is expensive. Now that you're successful, it's time you give back. Mom added, be grateful we're only charging you this much. George just shrugged like this was completely normal. You didn't support me, I said slowly. I worked. I paid my own way. I've never asked you for money. Dad's expression darkened. And that's exactly why we knew you'd handle this. They genuinely believed I owed them, like I was an investment they were cashing in on. I scanned the invoice again. One line stopped me cold. Loan to cover family emergencies. $15,000. What is this? Mom shifted uncomfortably. When we needed mortgage help a few years ago. You covered it, remember? I remembered. They called panicked, desperate. I wired the money same day. It wasn't a loan, I said. I never asked for it back. Dad waved a hand dismissively. Well, that just shows you had plenty to spare. I'd finally had enough. I pulled out my phone and turned the screen toward them. Here's my invoice. I'd compiled it years ago, never planning to use it. Money I'd lent them. The $15,000 for the mortgage, the savings they drained for George, the inheritance from my grandfather that mysteriously vanished. My total made theirs look like pocket change. Mom's face went pale. Dad's hands clenched into fists. This is different, Dad said, voice tight. How? We're your parents. That money supported the family. I was 18 when you took my inheritance. Where did it go? Mom flinched. Dad rubbed his temple. Mortgage payments. Things you benefited from. I moved out at 19. I didn't see a cent. George spoke up. Why are you being difficult? You're not broke. I stared at him. Still living at home. Still driving our parents' car. Still getting handouts. Of course he didn't see the problem. This isn't about money, I said. It's about you thinking you're owed something for doing the bare minimum. Mom looked hurt. We gave you everything. You listed basic parental responsibilities like they were luxuries. You don't get to bill me for existing. Dad leaned forward, trying negotiation. We can work something out. I'm not negotiating. I'm not paying a cent. I grabbed my phone and stood. This conversation is over. As I reached the door, Dad's voice stopped me. If you walk out, you're cutting yourself off from this family. I turned my head slightly, just enough to glance back. I think we both know that already happened a long time ago. 3 weeks later, I called a lawyer. The inheritance was meant for me, and I'd never signed away my rights. I had a real case. When the legal notice was served, chaos erupted. Mom showed up screaming. Dad called with threats. George texted, you're tearing this family apart, but I wasn't the one who tore it apart. They did that years ago. We settled in court. They sold their vacation timeshare and downsized to pay what they owed. George was furious. For the first time, his comfortable life was affected. They tell family I sued them over a misunderstanding. George says I took things too far. As for me, I feel free. No more guilt, no manipulation, and even though it cost me my family, I don't regret it.